So we know we have a Death and Return of Superman Omnibus reprint coming out in 2022. So I figured, let's take this time to do a retro view. Stay tuned. And welcome back, everybody. So here we have the third printing of the Death and Return of Superman Omnibus. And this is one of those stories that I talked about when I did a video on why I double dip. I think that's what it was called. Anyway, link is above. But this is one of those stories that I bought 8 times, I think. This is the 8th time I have purchased this. Mainly because of one particular page, but I do like the mapping in this version better. I love this cover. This is a very iconic cover here. The spine is simple and to the point, and here's what the back of the book looks like. Now, the book retails for $150, and the reprint coming out in 2022 also is retailing for $150. Let's look at it under the dust jacket. But before looking under the dust jacket, I did want to show these images here in the flaps of the dust jacket. Very cool and very iconic. Under the dust jacket is this image here. I think this was an unpublished image by John Bogdanove, because I want to say this is a part of the extras in the back. But let's take a look at this together, talk about this story. Of course, we are going to be talking about little spoilers with that title, but hey, there's nothing I can do about that. So here we go. The story that sold so many Superman comics, introduced a lot of people to Superman, and also pissed off some of the fans, because what is a popular comic story without it being controversial? So we have this image of his cape. Oh, that was so good. And then all the creators. Dan Jurgens playing a big role in this. Louise Simonson, Jerry Ordway, Uncle Raj, Roger Stern, John Bogdanove, Tom Grumet, Dan Jurgens himself drawing. And Butch Guice, here's the table of contents, including this image here by Tom Grumet, and then these images back here of pretty much signaling the arrival of this character known as Doomsday. So this is pretty interesting because if you look at the content of the book, it is material from Man of Steel numbers 17, Superman 73, Action Comics 683, and Adventures of Superman 494. So that's what all these images are. It's just the coming of Doomsday. But the real content is really Man of Steel 18 through 26, Action Comics 684 to 692, Adventures of Superman 495 to 505, Superman 74 to 83, Justice League of America 69 and 70, Action Comics Annual 5, Adventures of Superman Annual 5, Green Lantern 46, Legacy of Superman one-shot, Supergirl and Team Luthor 1, News Time Magazine. That one was actually published in a magazine size format. Superman Annual number 5, and Superman the Man of Steel Annual number 2. Plus the material of all those books I talked about. So here it is, the arrival of this character, this brand new character that was introduced through these pages for the pure purpose of killing the Man of Steel. So, when I talked about, I may have to talk about spoilers, that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about. Optimus Prime makes a cameo. That's exactly what I'm going to be talking about. The title is The Death and Return of Superman. And there is a spread page, which was the whole reason why I bought this. And that one is a spoiler, so I'll leave a timestamp when I'm talking about it. But the entire reason I bought this stupid omnibus was because of that spread page. And I'll show you how it's collected in this particular format. So what I mean by this particular format is this was previously printed 2 different times. Once in one of the earliest DC Omnis, and I had it. I think I gave it away to a friend of mine. But if you go back and see some of my videos, like, should I buy this book? I think that I did make a video, should I buy this book? And damn it, I think at the end of the day I said, no, I'm good with my second printing. What the hell's wrong with me? Now, where was I? Yes. So if you go back to that, you see that it's a standard size hardcover. That the paper on the inside is like newsprint paper. So it was one of their earliest omnibus. Wasn't well put together. And honestly, it was some horrible mapping, mainly because of the character of Matrix, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. Or Supergirl, rather. And then the second printing was an omnibus size. It had a lot more content, but still missing a couple of issues here and there. Actually, no. I think it has the same content as this does, with the exception of, well, you'll see this spread page when I get to it. But let's talk about the story really quick, because we've talked about the content and we've talked about the different printings. Let's talk about this popular, big, monumental story that happened in the 90s. So I remember when this happened. This was in the news. My friends that didn't collect comics in high school were asking me, dude, are they really killing Superman? Some of my friends that had left comics behind were asking me if it was a gimmicky thing like they had done with Jason Todd. Like, is there a 900 number to call if you want to save Superman? And honestly, I knew as much as everybody else. I didn't have the internet. I mean, we are talking early 90s. All we had was just some magazines that would circulate. And then, of course, the comic book store rumors, which... damn, I miss like talking to these old guys at the comic store. They were telling me like, oh yeah, they're gonna kill Superman. Apparently there was a big get together this summer with Roger Stern and Louise Simonson and all the different creators, and they all want to kill Superman just to bump up sales. Anyway, that's the way they sounded to me. And yeah, they were telling me that, oh yeah, they're just gonna kill him to get new people to buy these books, these Superman. Nobody cares. They'll bring him back. What do they know? I was in high school. I was like, what? They're going to kill Superman? And at the time, I had taken a break from reading Superman. I think right before this, I had read Panic in the Sky, because this was during the time of the Triangle years, and I wanted to focus more on collecting X-Men. So you've probably heard me talk about the Triangle years on my channel. So let's talk about that. So every year, DC would release Superman titles under these Triangle years to make it easier for the readers and collectors to get their books. So, in 1992, this is number 45. Even though, I mean, this might get a little confusing, but this is the title of this book is Superman, Man of Steel, number 18. This is the one by Louise Simonson and John Bogdanove. However, if you're collecting all the Superman titles, this falls under number 45. So the next book you want to get will have this little upside down triangle with 46. This here. As long as it's a Superman title. Boy, I picked a bad example. Because if it's not a Superman title, it won't have the little upside down triangle. But you may still want to get it. At the end of each issue, though, it will tell you where to buy the next part of Doomsday. This wasn't really necessary, but if you went from 45 to 46, you know, Doomsday had just already kicked the crap out of the Justice League, including putting Ted Kord here in a coma. So this is the Justice League during this time. You have Maxima, you have Ice, Maxima used to be a Superman villain. You have Fire, Guy Gardner, Bloodwing, and yes, Ted Kord. And Booster Gold is here too. Booster gets his head slammed into a car door. It's rough. But all of this is getting Doomsday closer and closer to Metropolis. Now, one of the coolest things that I love pointing out about this story is how epic it was. So much so that one thing you'll notice maybe, and maybe I know a few of you have when we did the review of this, The Death of Superman, on Old Reader, New Reader a few years ago, but the panels get bigger and bigger the closer he gets to Metropolis. So there's 4 panel grids here in this particular issue. And then in the following issue, there'll be 3 panel grids, like so. By the time we get to the penultimate issue, that's a G.I. Joe thing, we get 2 panels. Whether it's a spread page or whether it's panel layouts within the pages like this. So by the time we get to the big finale, this issue right here, and every year they started the numbering system over. So, for example, 1993 started over with a number 1, and then the next issue you needed to get was Superman 75, with this iconic image there. But yes, by the time you got to this issue, everything was a splash page to tell you just how cinematic and epic this was. Now, I am going to be talking about a spoiler because I have to. This is the reason why I bought this. So just in case, spoilers, and then I'll put the non-spoiler part in the description of the video where you can come back in case you don't know anything about the death of Superman. Alright. Alright, spoiler part! This is the fun part. This is where I get to talk about anything. Because you brave souls don't care. Or either don't care if I already read it. But I love this damn issue. This is so freaking awesome. I remember taking this to school and a few of my friends that didn't read comics read it. And one of my friends, Dawn, I remember her tearing up going, oh my gosh, this is brutal. That's wrong. Man, Doomsday just wipes the floor with Superman in this. Of course, Superman does give it back, right? Like, there's some freaking awesome fight scenes in here. This drawn by Dan Jurgens, written by Dan Jurgens. That's what I meant by him being the big driving force behind all this. But right here, this hit, oh, I felt this hit coming up. Damn, look at that. So many awesome images here. And then, of course, we get this freaking awesome image. And the entire reason why I bought this. So in the second printing, you know, this is just a normal spread page. And then you turn the page and there he goes. You know, this is the day that a Superman died. In this third printing, it is a fold-out page, the way that the comic came out. Oh, that's so badass. I love it. So gimmicky. I don't care. Oh. They had polybagged the damn Omnibus in the... Oh my god, if they polybagged the fourth printing of the Omnibus, the hell am I going to do? But anyway, I did want to show that, and let's get back to the non-spoilery part. Alright, welcome back to the non-spoilery part. All four of you. So yeah, I just showed how Superman died. You can find out for yourself how he dies in that story. This is the magazine. This is the News Time magazine here. This is the thing that I was talking about that came out in a magazine size format. It's even got fake ads in here. I think there's a car called Camelot 3000. And there's pictures in here from the big fight, articles in here. And then, of course, the aftermath, because we have to have an aftermath. And this particular era is called The Funeral for a Friend. Now, remember when I was talking about Matrix Supergirl, I said I would come back to her? All right, so in the first printing of this book, the crappy standard size edition with the newsprint, they left out every issue of Matrix Supergirl. She is in a few panels, but it gets kind of confusing because her stories are omitted. And at the time, DC was putting out the Jeff Loeb, Michael Turner Supergirl. They wanted her to be DC Supergirl. They wanted to get rid of the whole idea of Linda and Matrix and Peter David's Supergirl. So, sadly, that first printing omits all her stories, like when she's Supergirl. But Matrix was this character that was introduced through the pages of the Superman comic during this time, post-Crisis, this character right here. That really isn't his cousin because, well, the real Supergirl died in Crisis on Infinite Earths. So this alien-type creature kind of takes the shape of Supergirl. And she's working closer to this guy with long hair and a red beard that is calling himself Lex Luthor. You can find out all that convoluted history by reading this book. This does explain a little bit as to why they're calling him Lex Luthor. And here we have Funeral for a Friend. All the Justice League members decide to wear an armband in memory of their lost hero. Oh man, there is a beautiful moment here with, what's-his-name, Bebo, during Louise Simonson's run, where he's praying to God and asking God why he didn't take a poor schmuck like him, why he took someone as wonderful and loved as Superman. I thought that was a very beautiful moment. But let's keep going back to this, because after Funeral for a Friend, we do have some... This is the legacy issue, if I want to say, with Thorn and Crime Buster. Although this does have art by Walter Simonson and the cover there by Arthur Adams. Yep. So, not really necessary because it's not part of the Triangle Years, but still love that they put it in here. Here's the Walter Simonson issue with Oron. And let's keep going with this. Because after the Funeral for a Friend, we have a World Without Superman. That's where one-shots like these take place, Supergirl and Team Luthor. Now, that era of World Without Superman does end with issue 500 of Adventures of Superman, which introduces us to 4 people that could be Superman. We have this gentleman here, who will become known as Steel. Then we have this image right here of someone that will later be known as the Eradicator. And we have, this is the Superboy. Don't call him Superboy. And then, of course, the final image, which is the Cyborg Superman. So now we get to the era of the reign of Superman. So here we have the titles changing over, focusing on these 4 new characters. You have Action Comics over here, focusing on the Eradicator. Now, he was a character that appeared about 4 years before this particular story. Here we have the character of Steel. That's what Man of Steel, of course, shifts over to focus on. In Adjectiveless Superman, I don't know why I never called it Adjectiveless Superman. I just called it Superman. We focus on this character right here of Hank, who is the cyborg Superman. And, of course, The Adventures of Superman becomes a Superboy-centric book with wonderful artwork by Tom Grumet. And by now, Carl Kessel's taken over writing duties. I think before that it was Jerry Ordway that was writing the book. But I love the fact that they collect all the annuals in here. They're not that exciting, but I'm glad that they decided to collect them all in here. And it was a long time before Superman, well, the Superman as we know and love, did come back. Or at least it felt like it. I'm sure it was less than a year. Is that the White Rabbit? I think that's White Rabbit. Now, John Bogdanove's artwork in here, dude, I have to say, I remember when I was picking this up, I didn't even recognize his art. He was the same gentleman that did issues of X Factor. He had also drawn issues of Power Pack, so him and Louise Simonson had worked together in the past. I don't know if it was the inks, but I happened to liked his art style back. Nah, you know what? This is good. That's good. I'm good with that. Maybe the older I get, the more I appreciate it. But what I was saying is that, you know, this era did last a while, and then we eventually get to perhaps the return of our Superman. And one thing I notice with these reprints, I love that sometimes they have the second printing of the cover. So that was the second printing of this particular cover here. Wonder if that was a bigger or a larger scan that they had, and that's why they're using it. I always wondered about that. So everything is included in here. So you see this guy, that could be our Superman, maybe, maybe not, including the crossover with Green Lantern towards the end here, where Cyborg Superman kind of loses it. Yes, this particular issue of Green Lantern, issue 46. Let's not even waste any time talking about the writer, but the art here is done by M.D. Bright. And of course, this is before Ron Marz took over the book, but this does lead to the event of Emerald Twilight. So I always thought it was interesting that one of the most iconic things that happened to Hal Jordan's life happens during a crossover of the return of Superman. So the reign of the Superman, it comes to an end, and we get this guy back. So of course this omnibus is called The Death and Return. How he comes back? Well, you can find that out for yourself. But let's look at the extras here in the back. Oh, he does come back with a mullet, though. So here's an introduction by Mike Carlin, who did the original introduction in the first printing of the omnibus. Here are some images of the replacement Superman, or the reign of Superman. I've always been a big fan of Tom Grumet's art. Here are some collections. I remember the collections, the trade paperbacks. Those were some of the earlier trades that we had back in the early 90s. Here's some wraparound images here from the previews. I love the fact that the credits, they have some of the artwork by next to the credits. I love that it's not just the credits page. 1,408 pages is what this omnibus has, by the way. Some quick sketches or early sketches of Doomsday. Yeah, this is the image that you saw on the board, the front and the back. But this is an unused, unpublished, previously unpublished art by John Bogdanove. It's a nice image. Some character redesigns. And some of the script ideas. And this is the second omnibus cover right here. This one is drawn by Dan Jurgens. It's a wraparound cover. And then some more credits back here. 1,408 pages. Here's what the eye on the third printing will look like. I think the fourth printing will probably have better binding. I think it'll be a better built book. Just my opinion. As far as the paper quality, it is this thick, glossy paper. I think the paper might be a little bit thinner, which could help, honestly, with the book this big. But that's it. That, as they say, is that. Now, when the reprint comes out, don't forget to check out our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for brand new graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They pride themselves on packaging your books so they arrive safely in an excellent condition, as well as prompt and helpful service. Check out the bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. CGN is excited to announce that they are now taking pre-orders. They're making it easier for you to ensure that you don't miss out on the hottest releases. CGN is currently running a special promotion for you minties. If you're a first-time customer, let them know that you were referred by Near Mint Condition at the checkout, and you'll receive a credit for free shipping on your next order. This promotion is valid for U.S. customers only. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount and quality shipping and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content and page count of this omnibus. Let me know in the comments down below which printing you have. You have the first, second, or this version, or if you're waiting for the latest printing coming out in 2022. I'm pretty sure the fourth printing will be identical to this one in page count and maybe built a little bit better. Again, this was the Uncanny Omar. If you have any more questions, leave them down below. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Ring that bell for notifications to let you know when our videos are going live. We are on Spreadshop and on Patreon. Amazing ways to support the channel. And more importantly, everyone, stay healthy, stay safe, and much love.